Alright, it is Tuesday, January 21st, 2020 at 3:24 p.m. Alright guys, heads up for the people in Washington state. First case of Wuhan coronavirus in U.S. confirmed in Washington. The U.S. on Tuesday reported its first case of a new and potentially deadly virus circulating in China, saying a Washington state resident who returned last week from the outbreak's epicenter was hospitalized in good condition near Seattle. The man, identified only as Snohomish County resident in his 30s, was not considered a threat to medical staff or the public, health officials said. The virus has infected about 300 people, all of whom have been in China, and killed six. The newly discovered virus can cause coughing, fever, breathing difficulty, and pneumonia. Airports in the U.S. and other counties have stepped up monitoring, checking passengers from China or signs of illnesses. The U.S. is the fifth country to report seeing the illness, following China, Thailand, Japan, and South Korea. Late last week, U.S. health officials began screening passengers from Wuhan in central China, where the outbreak began. At least three airports, New York City's Kennedy Airport and the Los Angeles and San Francisco airports on Tuesday. The CDC announced it will add Chicago's O'Hare Airport and Atlanta's airport to the mix later this week. What's more, officials will begin forcing all passengers that originate in Wuhan to go to one of the five airports if they wish to enter the U.S. Officials around the world have implemented similar airport screenings in hopes of containing the virus during the busy Lunar New Year travel season. The U.S. resident had no symptoms when he arrived in the Seattle Tacoma airport last Wednesday, but he contacted doctors on Sunday when he started feeling ill, officials said. Last month, doctors began seeing the new virus in people who got sick after spending time in the food market in Wuhan. More than 275 cases of the newly identified coronavirus has been confirmed in China, most of them in Wuhan, according to the World Health Organization. The count includes 6 deaths, all in China, most of them 60 or older, including at least some who had previous medical condition. Officials have said it is probably spread from animals to people, but this week Chinese officials said they concluded it can spread from person to person. So that's something to keep in mind also. Not only can it spread from person to person, animals can contract it as well. If it can spread from animal to person and person to person, you gotta be aware of that too. Health authorities this month identified the germ being an outbreak as a type of a new coronavirus. Coronaviruses are a large family of viruses, some of which can cause the common cold. Others found in bats, camels, and other animals have evolved into more severe illnesses. SARS, or severe acute respiratory syndrome, belongs to the coronavirus family, but Chinese state media say the illness in Wuhan is different from coronaviruses that have been identified in the past. Earlier laboratory tests ruled out SARS and MERS, Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, as well as influenza, bird flu, adenovirus, and other common lung-infected germs. The new virus so far does not appear to be as deadly as SARS and MERS, but viruses can sometimes mutate to become more dangerous. A University of Washington coronavirus researcher David Vessel said the public should not be panicking right now. The response has been very efficient, Vessel said. In a couple of weeks, China was able to identify the virus, isolate it, sequence it, and share the information. Vessel added, "We do not have enough data to judge how severe this disease is." The CDC's Nancy Messenger said health officials expected to see more cases in the U.S. and around the world in the coming days. So heads up, people in Seattle, there's already a person there. He's been there for a couple of weeks, and we don't know who's to come in contact with. I don't know if there are other people who possibly have it already in the country. So heads up. Alright, let's read some more. It says travel precaution level increases. The CDC has raised the travel notice for Wuhan from a level 1 to a level 2 or 3 possible levels according to its website. On Tuesday morning, the CDC advised travelers to practice usual precautions, which is part of Watch Level 1 status. As of Tuesday afternoon, the agency advised travelers to practice enhanced precautions, an increase from status alert level 1 to a level 2. The highest level, warning level 3, advises travelers to avoid non essential travel. Alright, let's go to the last article. First U.S. case of potential deadly Chinese coronavirus confirmed in Washington state. Let's see. Washington state officials said the man, the resident of Sonoma County, Washington, returned from a trip in the region around Wuhan, where the outbreak began. He arrived at Seattle International Airport last Wednesday. So since last Wednesday, he's been basically in the country. Shortly afterward, he began feeling ill and reached out his health care provider on Sunday. Local, state, and federal officials quickly collected samples and sent them to the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, where his case was confirmed on Monday as the coronavirus, which has sickened up to close to 300 people in China and others in Thailand, Japan, Taiwan, and South Korea. CDC officials are expecting screening to international airports in Atlanta and Chicago, so they're going to start that there. Over 1,200 travelers have already been screened since Friday. Over the weekend, federal officials also began redirecting travelers arriving in the U.S. on direct and indirect flights from Wuhan Airport, screening travelers for the new virus. Even though Washington state occurred several days before airport screening began, local, state, and federal officials said they are on alert, collaborated to test the man, and put precautions in place. A small number of healthcare workers and patients who may have been exposed to the patient have been notified to watch for symptoms and are being monitored. Washington state health officials said officials are tracing the people that have come into contact with him both in China and the United States. So the game is afoot, Sherlock, because it is already here. Alright guys, hit like and subscribe for more videos, and stay aware if you're traveling to any Asian country, Japan, Taiwan, North Korea, China. Stay aware and stay safe. God bless you guys out there. Remember, I have a channel link down in the description below of Dave's Empire 1981. Check him out. See you guys next time. God bless.